Alright everyone, this is DadBod Tactical Gamer, and I'm bringing you a really quick summary of the latest patch notes that came from Warhammer Underworlds Online. Just going to go over the implications, the changes that it's done to the game, some really cool new enhancements. So to quickly summarize these here, first and foremost, really cool feature they've added is a Reconnect system. So now, if you happen to be playing a game, such as myself, and you suddenly disconnect, your power goes out, whatever it may be the case, you now have the opportunity to try and quickly load your game back up and continue on. So you're not automatically given a concede. I know that this will have a lot of positive reinforcement for some games where you might have a dominating lead and then disconnect right at the end of the third round. You're no longer going to be penalized with a concede in these games. So really cool new enhancement. I'm really glad that they brought this into the game, and it's really going to avoid a lot of player frustration. So very happy with that system. Next, there are a lot of changes to the graphics. You can scale them at a far greater level in far more detail, turning off all sorts of little fog of war, and you can turn these candles off here in the corner, and a lot of these things will help players with lower performing computers. They're now going to be able to make sure they can run the game optimally, so that's a pretty cool new enhancement as well. But let's get into the changes in game. So really want to cover a couple of the interesting changes here. So you're going to see that above my fighters, when you pan over a fighter now, a new pop-up comes up showing their move characteristic, showing their defense characteristic, and showing the number of gear that are currently equipped to that fighter. These are great for helping you really be in touch with what's happening in the game. So before you decide to make that charge against another fighter, if you notice that he's got 3 gear on him, you may just want to look at what those were so that you're not making a critical error in your gameplay. Another cool thing as well, is you see I'm holding my cursor over Gartok, and he's got a 1 shield characteristic, which is displayed there. But if I go over Magor, it's actually showing that he defends on shields and dodges because he's currently on guard in this game. So a far greater ability to see how your opponent is going to stack up in the defense. So dodge on Riptooth, 1 shield, and shield or dodges are all the characteristics for me to defend. Really like these enhancements. It helps prevent players from making those very simple mistakes that can potentially cost you the game if you make a foolish charge. You'll also notice as well that fighters that are the enemy have this little X above them. That's really going to help in mirror matches where you're playing the exact same warband. It can really get confusing as to which fighters are yours and which fighters are your opponents. So, last but not least is during an attack action, if there is a special rule that applies, such as cleave or knockback or trapped or any sort of thing that will impact the attack action, these are now going to show up as a pop-up. So I'm quickly going to demonstrate that here with Magor. He's going to make a charge against this poor little petitioner, and you're going to see when the attack is successful, the cleave action is going to show up in the attack. So I make my charge action, and that word cleave just popped up. That's showing me that a special rule was in place for when I took that fighter out of action. Score change tactics. Very awesome play for me there. So really awesome new enhancements for the gameplay. I've even found myself a fairly veteran player. There was a game where I was taken out by the champion on the skeleton side here, and I couldn't understand why his attack was successful because I totally blanked that he has an innate cleave on his basic attack. And I was just shocked by it. It threw me off for a little bit till I finally remembered he had that special rule. But now in that game, that's going to pop up showing that there was a cleave. This is awesome for helping newer players understand what's happening during an attack action. Same if fighters are trapped, and all sorts of additional little benefits. So some really cool new enhancements to the HUD. Nothing that really changes gameplay, but things that just make the gaming experience a little bit better. Then last but not least, there are some card enhancements. I'm going to list them here on the side that kind of go over everything. Not going to review them. There's nothing that I ever really noticed in any of my gameplays. These are kind of small little glitches that were happening within the game. So they've cleaned up a couple of those reaction windows and how cards interact with how the game works, like lightning strikes only affects an actual charge now. Just little bugs that just help clean up the rules, make the game a lot simpler. So that's about it for the major patch notes. Love what they're doing. I love the fact that they are still pumping improvements into this game. Once we get our downloadable content, some new war bands, I'm thrilled with the journey that we're going on here. So I hope this video gives you some clarity as to what's different now in the game. I'm a big fan of their work. All of these improvements, I don't find one complaint in any of it. I really do see all of these as positive changes. So if there's anything you feel I really missed, or if you have any questions about what's going on in the game, let me know in the comments. I'd love to interact with anyone at any time. And that's it for patch 1.16. Have a great night.